Okay, guys. This is the third installment of this game, Shadows of the Demon Lord Forever Winter. Was planned to be a prelude at one time, but probably not going to happen now. So we're just going to finish this arc and move along. So where we are, for those that don't remember, or those that are watching, is that Ruthor, Constable, Phaedron, and Tulip, along with Gazek, who is Ruthor's son, traveled from a small village to Cold Lake, which is in Rule, the northern realms, and found there the travel there very difficult during the harsh winter, unnatural winter that had fallen over Rule, and essentially, battling the elements and some tentacled monsters that came out of Cold Lake itself. When you were crossing, you did reach a small quote-unquote village that was based underground, actually. And then to find that this place required a sacrifice of one of you to live there in comfort and safety. When you did not agree, Photok took up the mantle and went to fight the creature or person, it's unsure which it was, that required the sacrifice, and let you all flee. And that's where we are right now, and I will read something to you. So, fleeing from Cold Lake and leaving Photok to fight for your escape was difficult, but the crossing further east had proved harrowing. The bitter cold and snow never relented, but eventually safe harbor was found, at least for a while. 2 years ago, when the five of you stumbled upon an abandoned hamlet to wait out the tempest of the snowfall around you. The snows had not let up since you had left Cold Lake. On that fateful day, you let Photok sacrifice himself for you, and most importantly, Gazek. You sought refuge in this place, and protection it has given. And the days passed while the five of you barely survived on what game you could hunt and what food you could gather. But eventually, the snows began to slow and the sun brighten. Over the last 6 months, in fact, your lives have found some normalcy. The nearby river that connects Highwatch to the crossing has flooded, forming a small lake full of fish. The haunts and horrors of the winter seem to have fled these lands, and your small hamlet with a population of 5 has survived. Even still, the hamlet of Slippery Stream sees not travelers or guests. You are alone here, and frightened of what leaving might cost for a mere curiosity. Gazek now stands above Ruthor's waist and rivals Tulip's height at 4 years old, an orc nearing his adolescent years. His secret is held close by each of you, although the true meaning of the mark he bears remains a mystery. Okay, let me switch the scene. So, today is a day like many others. When you found this hamlet, for the longest time it did not have a name until the rains came and the winter subsided. It is still cold out, but it's a damp, cold rain. There is bits of snow on the ground here and there, but mostly everything has melted, causing flooding all around. This small hamlet is situated on a small hill, as you can see, and nearly all around it is varying degrees of standing water. You have been here for 2 years, and the last 6 months have been more or less the melting of snow and the rainfall. There are 5 of you here, only who you brought. When you reached this place, it was abandoned, much like the place that you had left, Woodtown, I believe it was called. People fleeing, whatever direction they fled. It's hard to say. They gave no indication of where they had went. What they left behind was sufficient for you to have clothing and warmth by a fire and refuge from the elements in this place. And so this is where you stayed. And eventually the winters began to fade away. And here's where you've stayed since. It is a soft day, as many are, most are, with thunder and rain pouring down. You've situated the hamlet however you decided to do it, with one common room where you could all meet in the largest building in town and share meals and whatnot. Today you find yourself in that place, basically having your midday meal. So go ahead and feel free to roleplay amongst yourself, kind of get us started here. Gazik sits at the table, basically scooping into his mouth some berries and venison that had been caught a few days prior. Feel free and get us started, guys.
Phaedron comes in, his cloak wet and damp from the weather outside, and he places a threadbare satchel on a table nearby with a heavy thump, and the satchel kind of partially falls open. If anyone kind of cares to look, you can see the evidence of a few, I guess they're called conies or wild rabbits that are inside. He walks over to the fireplace and starts basically stripping down to his skivvies, more or less, without any kind of shame or anything, grunting as the wear and tear and arthritis in his old joints gets the best of him, as it always does. And once he does that, he reaches over on another shelf and grabs a unmarked bottle of something and sits down with a heavy thump and begins to
Constable is kind of not at the door, but kind of near it, kind of just watching over to everything. He doesn't actually need to really eat anything, so it's mostly he kind of is just seen around the places where the most people are, just keeping watch constantly.
Looks like a nice haul.
Yeah, keep in mind you've been here for 2 years, so this isn't like a new place for you.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Tulip is... sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Tulip was kind of sitting in the corner. She's got like a little plate of food beside her that she's picking at. She's mostly working on restringing her bow. A few times it kind of snaps back and hits her in the fingers. And she just kind of keeps working at it. And afterwards, when she finally gets it restrung, she takes her dagger and starts making like little intricate designs in the bow. It's clear that for the past 2 years she's kind of slowly been working her way up the hilt, and you can kind of see from the bottom it's really rough, and it kind of gets more detailed and intricate the farther it goes up.
Gazik pushes his bowl of berries over to his father.
Father, take these. I found them yesterday. They are delicious.
And he's got these purple stains on his teeth and his lips. And he looks over to Tulip and kind of waves her over.
Carving on that old thing again? Hey.
Huh? And?
He just, like, shakes his head.
Father says that weapons are for fighting, not for ornament.
Well, I like firing from, something that's personal. And making it personal makes it special.
As long as it's effective.
Oh, it is.
Where'd you find these berries at, Gazik?
Near the lake. On an old tree. They were ripe. Come, Father, eat them. I'd be dead already. I've been eating them all day.
They look delicious. I think I'll have some. It's nice to get fruit.
Constable is kind of just like, his head kind of creakily swivels to each person as they talk, as he just takes in everything.
Gazik sees Constable kind of looking at him, and he grabs one of the berries and kind of chucks it at Constable and hits you on the head, being a mischievous child that he is.
Gazik, it's not good to waste food.
That's true. Tulip can eat it.
And he kind of waves towards the berry on the ground.
Children.
Ruthor would get up and go grab the berry and pop it in his mouth. Be fashionable, it's just a little dirt.
Oh. Gross.
Phaedra shakes his head and puts the bottle down and walks over to the satchel. And I guess I don't know if we have a designated, after all this time, we have someone who is a designated cook for us, but he can take on that mantle when needed, So he'll start skinning the rabbits, and he'll turn to to Ruthor and Gazik, and he'll say, "Dinner will be ready shortly. You don't have to eat stuff off the floor like your wolves."
What's wrong with the stuff on the floor?
He shakes his head.
Yeah, Constable actually pipes up at that. He is right. It is just as good.
How would you know? I feel like you're very unqualified to talk about what's good in terms of...
You would probably know there was like one time where you guys had Constable cook because no one else wanted to, and he hasn't since for reasons.
Okay. Phaedra will nudge one of the rabbits toward Tulip and kind of nod at her, kind of as a, you know what to do. Get at it, child.
And Tulip will get up and, like a kind of an annoyed teenager, grab the bunny and she'll trot on over to the cook station, put it down, and start skinning it. Doing it very well, but obviously extremely annoyed that she had to get up.
And Gazik calls it, he's like,
Go in the pantry and get the spices we found.
You go in the pantry.
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 Guys, go in the pantry and get the spices.
he frowns and, like, kind of slams the bowl of berries down.
She's closer to the pantry, Father.
I got blood on my hands.
But you've been sitting down for quite some time now. This is not a freeloading spot. I had to work hard to bring you here.
Yes, I've heard all about it.
And he looks over at Constable and he says,
You go to the pantry.
Constable's, his arms kind of jitter and, make a kind of creaking noise as he makes the pseudo shrug, because his shoulders don't actually move, so the arms kind of just raise to the side a bit. And he starts heading over to the pantry.
Guys, I have to make a man out of you yet.
I am. I'm a warrior, just like you, Father.
Well, no doubt you'll be a great one. You still have a lot to learn.
And Constable, you go over to the pantry, and it's It's like one of those doors, like you a double door, and you kind of pull them out and to the side, right? And you go and you pull open the doors, and you're kind of looking at the shelves that are eye level, and kind of at your feet, you notice there's kind of a ruckus all of a sudden, and kind of sitting in the darkness is a little goblin who has been hiding in the pantry.
Yeah, Constable
shrinks back,
slowly turns downwards towards it. Yeah.
You guys were talking over each other. Go ahead. Go ahead, Deron.
Yeah, this little guy just shrinks into the corner. He looks terrified. there's not much place for him to go, but he's pushing as far on the back, as hard on the back board as he can.
Yeah, Constable kind of tilts his head a bit as it looks downwards at him, and kind of leans forward a bit, and eyes.
Not a demon.
Yeah, the eyes kind of flare up. This like kind of, you can literally see fire inside them, and it kind of crackles as its jaw moves. Who are you?
Meepa. Don't eat me.
His head, with a really terrible kind of screech from the lack of oil, because he hasn't taken the time to, and unless someone else does, this is how it gets. The screech essentially comes out that everyone probably hears as he tilts his head further, and it's like almost to the side now. Why are you?
His screech is now matched with the little guy's screech. So we got two screeches going.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you here? Ow.
No, don't hurt me, just a little goblin. Not dangerous. Hardly a mouthful for anyone.
Yeah, everybody can. Yeah, you guys can hear this. Gazik turns. He's like, "Are you crying, Constable?"
What? That's squeaking. Where's my
Constable. What do you got?
A
She needs
goblin.
more lists.
Intruder. And he kind of raises up tall again, and the kind of burning in his eyes is a bit brighter now as he says intruder.
Oh, okay. Phaedron will jump up from or turn with one of the skinning knives in his hand and move towards the pantry. He's got a skinning knife in one hand, and in the other hand he's got a jar with a rag in it that has this really stinky fish oil that occasionally they'll use for Constable, but not too much because it's stinky.
Yeah. It's reasonable. He really doesn't care, so.
Make his way over there.
So, Tulip with her skinning knife in her hand.
Tulip. How about you get this small thing out of our pantry? God knows how much food he's eating there.
Fine. I'll stab it. Everyone out.
Not stabbing. Meepa harmless.
What are you doing in my pantry?
Oh, I didn't know it was your pantry.
Oh, it is,
Meepa
man.
hungry. No food. Many days.
My name is Meepa. Why are you here?
It's warm and dry in here. Cold outside, wet, rainy, don't like it.
How'd you find your way in here?
No one was here. Came in, went to sleep. Nice, cozy, safe. Thought it was safe.
Why should we kill you?
Yeah, Constable's just towering over Tulip as she says this.
His eyes are just wide. He's looking around at all of you. You can see he
is it an
has
adult
like
goblin?
a tiny little dagger in his belt, but he hasn't even thought to pull it out.
Ruthor having the long trek and going to the underground city and stuff kind of took him a little more away from his orcish, brutish ways. Well, Meepa is it?
Is that an orc? Is that an orc, Father?
He's never seen another orc besides Ruthor and himself, so he's...
Meepa not orc. Meepa not nasty orc. Meepa nice goblin.
You're the one person that was about to be nice to you.
Hang on. I got something for this. Nah, it's a funny looking orc. That's all it is. Instead of hiding in our pantry, why don't you come out? Funny looking orc.
Give me the knife.
Metal demon not burn me or kill me?
Maybe.
Or eat me?
Give me the knife. And he won't eat you, probably.
I do not need meat.
Don't devour my soul.
He might. Now give me the knife.
He suddenly seems to remember that he has a knife in his belt, and he takes it out, and you can see him thinking for a moment if maybe he stands a chance, and then reluctantly kind of hands it over to you.
And Tulip will take it and look at the tiny, tiny knife and put it in her belt.
All right.
He's definitely not a brave orc.
Not like you, Father.
Or your
Suck
Uncle
up.
Photok.
I don't remember Uncle Photok.
Phaedron will wag a finger at the goblin, and in a stern, voice, he'll. Can we tell if this is it an adult or is it a child, or can we tell?
That's up to Meepa.
Hard to say.
It's up to you
can
guys.
See what you see. I mean,
Yeah.
could be a child.
Well, okay. Phaedron is trying to size him up just to see, but he kind of wags a finger threateningly at Meepa. And where are the others at? Are you the only one here?
Meepa all alone.
Fine.
I don't believe you. And Phaedron will start getting dressed again, and he'll tell the others, I'm gonna take a look around outside.
I'll keep him hostage.
I'll go with the old man, Father, and protect him.
He's not that old. Ish.
Phaedron looks at Tulip. The years have hardened her much.
If you want to, guys, stay out of trouble and stay out of his way.
And he goes, he obviously is very excited, and he goes, kind of grabs his own bow that he has, and ready to go out into the rain with Phaedron.
Yeah, Constable's the kind of glow from his eyes softens a bit as he kind of turns. Be careful outside.
Bet something on. It's cold outside and you'll get sick.
Ah, wives' tale.
And he just pounds his chest. I'm an orc. No rain is gonna get me sick, Father.
Well, if you remember, there's not a lot to do if you do get sick, so put it on because you'll be a dead orc.
Yeah, you have to spend time with me.
He goes and he puts his jerkin on and basically a straw cloak, and heads outside with Phaedron.
Phaedron swings the door open and then stops and turns and puts the jar of fish oil in one of Constable's hands and goes outside.
Fish oil.
There's a creaky nod as he kind of acquiesces and drips a little bit into the joints to help it stop.
Yeah, as you two go outside, Phaedron, go ahead and roll me a perception.
Okay.
You should have a macro. It's PER you can hit.
Yeah, I forgot to select.
No, you're all good.
Okay, no boons or banes, right? Just straight.
No, yeah, straight roll.
All right, there you go.
Yeah. You don't see anything out here.
Okay. It is raining still, or no?
It is definitely raining. Yes.
Okay. All right. He'll turn to Gazik, and he'll kind of grasp him firmly by one shoulder, kind of, you know how parents kind of turn kids in a direction, you know, and then give him a nudge as, you know, that way without saying it, and then he gives him the shush, you know, finger over the lips, and then they'll start making their way. They'll go around the perimeter of the area.
Yeah, you guide Gazik around the hamlet, and you see no signs of anyone or anything else that's here. Okay. You spend a good amount of time looking, and you're fairly sure that no one else is here.
Okay. After a while, Phaedron, we'll make our way back to the door where we came out of the main hall. And before he reaches for the door, he turns to Gazik, and he says, "Make yourself small and stay out here and watch for another few moments before you come in, just in case."
He just kind of grunts and nods.
Okay. And Phaedron will go inside with a half smile on his lips. "I'll toughen him up." He goes inside.
Gazik's standing at the doorway as you kind of re-enter, and everybody's kind of just sitting around looking at Mipa. So what have you guys been discussing?
So Tulip keeps Mipa's dagger kind of in her belt, and she reluctantly goes back to cooking and preparing like she was before, with some of the spices from the pantry.
Ruthor will grab a unskinned rabbit and hand it to Mipa. Make yourself useful.
Oh, you want me to eat this raw?
No, you gotta remove the fur.
Ah, okay.
Can you do that?
He says, maybe knife would help.
No. Let me just do it.
Cut it for him so he can rip it.
Okay.
And Tulip will take the rabbit and cut it for him and hand it back to Mipa.
There you go.
He accepts it and does his best to rip it apart.
Yeah, you can rip it apart. Not a problem.
He's not exactly very practiced at this sort of thing, but...
I see you haven't done much of that. What use are you?
My old boss didn't like rabbit much.
Your old boss?
Yeah, old boss.
Your old
Witch.
boss?
The witch.
Witch? Who's the witch?
Which, you say?
Which witch?
The witch. She made me her love slave and cook and hunter.
Oh,
Meeper had to work so hard.
she has low standards.
What's that mean?
It's nothing. Just keep cooking.
Now where's this witch of yours now?
She dead. Meeper killed her.
Yeah, constable nearby, the eyes fire up again as he kind of watches Mipa very closely. And then when he says he killed her, it's even more so, and he's kind of even closer than he was before. He's like standing over Mipa the whole time he's getting the rabbit.
Why did you kill your old boss, the witch?
How would you like to be love slave of old ugly hag? 5 years.
I was once.
Oh.
That's how Gothic was born.
Oh my.
Well,
My ears.
you bigger, stronger than me. Maybe you could have done it too.
Nobody fed you when you were a young orc. You look deformed.
Oh my.
Meepa had pretty girlfriend long ago. She don't think Meepa ugly or deformed.
There was a point where Constable thought that Ruthor was messing with Gazak, and now he isn't sure anymore.
Gazak is outside still, and he's, "Old man, when can I come in? I don't see anything."
Phaedron will kick the door open and says, "Come on, get out of there and come in and dry yourself off. I think all the crazy talk's over with right now. Come on."
He comes in and looks around and sees Meepa, and he's like, "This orc is still here?"
Yeah, he's pretty deformed and decrepit. I don't think he could be survived much on his own. I don't think he's much of a threat either, although he killed his old boss.
He just looks at Ruthor and looks at Meepa, and then he's strong, like us, father.
He is not strong like us. You see how small he is.
He can grow. Maybe he's my age.
Well, we could feed him and see what happens. At least fatten him up a little bit.
Plenty of fish.
Phaedron kind of tugs at his beard and kind of eyes the goblin. He eyes Meepa, and he says, "Exactly how did you kill this witch?"
Slowly. Little bit at a time, you see. Put little things in her food.
Hey, he reaches and takes the rabbit away. Yeah, he slides the rabbit, the
He
coney
looks a
away
little
from
surprised, but he lets you take it.
Yeah.
I guess you ain't cooking for us anymore.
Where's this witch at? Or where was this witch at? Meepa.
In the swamps. Far away.
Does Phaedron have any idea of their surroundings at all?
You guys have traveled, not too far away from the village, but clearly there are just bogs and swamps everywhere with this rain.
Okay.
Before winter, let up, you really don't know the area in that situation, but there is standing water everywhere.
And obviously no signs of any other kind of civilization, no paths, no trails, no nothing, huh?
No, not that you've seen. Everything is flooded, that you can tell.
So he'll once again, Phaedron once again will turn to Meepa, and he'll say, if this swamp was so far away, how did you end up finding this village here?
Swamp kind of scary. Meepa kind of tired of swamp, and not much food that Meepa like. And scary girl. Didn't like the scary girl.
Scary.
Constable kind of tilts his head. You mean the witch?
No. Scary girl like her.
Points at Tulip.
Hey, not scary.
You mean like this pale orc?
No. Like Tulip. She have bow and arrow. Try to shoot me. I run away. Very scared. I tried to make friends, but oh well.
Don't make me feel bad for you.
Yeah, Constable kind of asked me, but when, with a bit more urgency in his voice.
Let's see. Maybe 4 sleeps ago.
How far?
4 sleeps.
How far away did you see him?
He means 4 days, Dad.
4 days ago you saw him?
That's what I say. 4 sleeps.
We should go find him. Dad, more people, more orcs.
Could be dangerous ones, though.
True.
Could be bandits or worse.
We don't want to end up in a camp again.
Now you can become the clan leader, Father. Just like you're our leader. Bring more into your tribe.
Or we could just lead everybody to their death. Or enslavement, chopping down trees. You forget that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And he kind of just like shakes his bow. I'm here to protect Tulip.
Oh,
It is our job to protect the lower orcs, son. That is
lower
why.
orcs.
Meepa says,
Tulip. Is
Yeah.
she babe? She's baby?
No. I'm a teenager. God. Basically an adult.
Basically, huh?
Yeah.
Gazik just kind of rolls his eyes and says,
She's almost human. I guess.
Meepa says,
You looking for boyfriend?
I have a knife.
She's not looking for any boyfriend.
Meepa have lots of experience.
Ah,
I don't think she wants to reduce a decrepit orc.
I have lots of experience in stabbing small things.
Gazik he's smiling with a crooked smile, and he's like,
You don't want that. She's mean.
That was Gazak?
yeah.
Yeah, Meepa looks at Gazak curiously and says, You baby?
I'm not a baby. I'm an orc.
A young one. Still wet behind the ears, Gazik.
I'm strong, Father.
Photok was strong, too.
He kind of rolls your eyes at this constant talk of someone he doesn't remember.
I've told you stories about him. He was a brave orc. The bravest I've seen. He died because he saved us. And with that, Ruthor kind of like turn away from Gazik and go to Phaedra and kind of ended the conversation right there. Phaedra,
Yes.
in your hunts, have you seen any signs of any activity?
I'm afraid not, but this weather, although I curse it every day, may be keeping us hidden as well. So it may be to our advantage, but he shrugs. Who knows how much longer it may stay this way. And he kind of nods towards, or he does nod towards Meepa. And he says, but we've got one other pressing matter to take care of first. What do we do about him?
He's an orc. He becomes one of our tribe, right, Father?
Yes, every orc can become one of our tribe as long as he can prove himself useful in something. And obviously cooking is out of the question.
Well, if we don't trust his cooking, why should we trust him at all?
Because in battle, he will stand in front.
What? I think they will just step right over him, Constable.
You can stab their feet.
That may be right. As he kind of looks Meepa over, noticing how actually small he is.
Gazik looks at Constable.
I'll stand in front. Don't worry.
Phaedron points at Meepa, and he says, "The metal man there, you see him?
Meepa see the metal man.
You see his glowing eyes?"
He looks. He's not sure where you're going with this.
Yeah.
He just kind of nods.
Okay. All right. Okay. He said. Phaedron says. He says those eyes, they see into a man's heart and soul.
Ooh,
If there is any,
I'm not a man. Whew, thank God.
You're not?
He's an orc.
He smacks his forehead.
So orcs aren't men?
I mean, he can see anyone's soul. He can see into anyone's heart. Orc, goblin, man, whoever. Even tulips. And he says if there's any signs of you doing us wrong or wishing to harm us, he'll see it. Do you understand?
Oh, why Meepa want to harm you? Meepa want friends. Meepa's so lonely.
Maybe
If I
we
see
should
you looking
take
at
him in.
Tulip, if I see you looking at Tulip again that way, you'll find out.
I can take care of myself, Dad.
Gazik, like, he like reaches over and is like pulling on Ruthor's sleeve, and he just nods at Ruthor and he's like, "Father." He's like kind of being quiet, but everybody can clearly hear him as he's very poor at being silent. He's like, "Our clan needs to grow. Maybe you should match them up."
Ew.
Oh, Meepa always want to be dad.
I think it'd be.
Have little Meepas.
I think it would be better to have his line stopped there.
I agree.
Constable kind of looks towards Meepa and then towards Tulip. What is a halfling and a goblin? As he tilts his head. Goblin? Or halfling?
Halfling? Halfling?
Yeah.
What does a holing look like?
A human.
Constable points at Phaedron.
So you're a holing. Interesting.
No, a halfling.
Constable, you got it all wrong. He's not a goblin, he's not a human, and he's not a halfling. They're all orcs.
We're doomed.
As this,
Constable's head is a little bit lowered. At this
yeah,
point.
yeah. How did I get here? Kind of as you guys are like this, like talking. Here's something.
Meepa instantly perks up. His ears actually move.
Why do you guys do perception?
All right.
Everybody can do it if they would like.
Yeah. I'll use prayer as well on myself.
Oh my.
For a boon.
I receive all.
Ever vigilant. Nope.
For those who passed, which is 10 or above, you hear the sounds of not very silent guests outside. Horse hooves, clanking of metal, that sort of thing. Gazik looks to Ruthor and looks to the door and back and forth, wondering if his father heard anything, which he did not, but others did.
He's still cracking jokes about them being orcs. Well, not jokes, because he seriously considers them all orcs.
Yeah, Constable's still kind of just downtrodden of the fact that that's where we are right now. And at the same time, he's kind of up-spirited by the fact that there's some actual banter going on for once, you know? So.
Meepa immediately puts his hands up when he hears it and says, "Quiet! Noise outside!"
Yeah, there's something.
Noise.
Just...
Yeah, Constable perks up, and you see him draw his sword and pull out his shield off of his back.
Arm
Yeah.
yourselves.
Gazik he goes to the door and begins to like try to throw it open to go outside.
Ruthor grab him and pull him back.
If Meepa is quick enough, Meepa actually tries to grab him before he can get to the door.
Why don't you roll agility?
And Tulip will run for her bow.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Guess
Anybody
not.
else want to stop him?
Yeah, I'll try. Oh, there you go. Okay. Ruthor get him?
No, maybe.
Okay. All right,
do
I'll give it a
this.
shot.
Just do
Not
this.
yet, boy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Ruthor, you snatch him by the wrist as he's trying to head out, and he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Father, if they're invading our keep, we should fight."
You can't fight them all by yourself, Cossack. There may be more of them, so we have to be smart about it. I can't leave these other orcs, including the metal one, to their death.
Let me go out and see who it is first, and just if listen closely, and if things go bad, then either you help or you may run.
Give me a cloak. I can act like I'm sick. They'll see me. And they
They'll
won't
never
know.
believe it, Father. You're an orc. The head of our tribe.
We don't know who they are. Let's see first.
I can sneak outside.
No, they might know we're already here, so it's better to have one orc open the door. Phaedron, seem non-hostile. Let them think that they are advantageous in their adventures.
Yeah, old man here all by himself.
There you go.
They won't.
Did you?
So Fabian will put his cloak on, and he'll let's see. I guess he'll keep a one of the knives with him.
That's fine.
Yeah, because he won't take his polearm. That's crazy. So he'll take a knife with him, and he'll open the door and kind of look back at everyone one last time, and then he'll go through and kind of leave the door slightly ajar so that they can hopefully hear what's going on.
Yeah, Constable's quite close to the door, kind of at the ready as if he's going to charge out of it at any point.
Okay. As you head out the door, you see 4 men standing in the courtyard outside the what you would call Long Hall, I suppose, the biggest building in this hamlet. And they're quickly hitching their horses to some long, unused hitching posts, and they are essentially dismounting and tying their horses up, and they kind of like look up as Phaedron walks out, somewhat surprised, and one man steps forward and he's like, "Well met. Did not expect to see anyone here. What is this place?"
How are these men dressed?
They are dressed in light armor, riding armor, but they are armed, certainly. They each have swords at their hips, and you notice that some of them have unstrung bows on their saddles, keeping their bows straight. There are 4 of them. You should be able to see them now.
Do I notice, or does Phaedron notice any insignia or standard or anything?
Yeah, they do have a standard. It is a purple field with a golden crown. If you want to know what that is, intellect with 2 banes.
Intellect, 2 banes. Okay. Okay, here you go.
There you go. You have heard of something similar to this in your days when you were a warrior, and it is one of the kingdoms on the east coast of Rule, fairly far away. You're not sure what they would be doing here.
Okay. And
You
then
don't remember any details of them other than you know that it's some sort of actual kingdom, right?
Okay. Kind of based roughly upon where we originally are from and kind of where we are now. That kingdom is still far to the east of us, you're saying?
Yeah, they would be over if you're looking at like the Northern Reaches map. You think it's over near the Bone Marsh, on the periphery of the Bone Marsh, where you are next to the kind of like next to the crossing.
Okay.
So basically on the east side of Mirror Lake, somewhere over there.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just so I kind of have an idea of,
Yep.
These.
Yeah, they're from pretty far away.
Okay. So the one that spoke to me, I'll raise my hand in greeting, and I'll kind of cough and say, I'll nod at him and say, we don't get many travelers, if any at all, here in these parts. And then I'll kind of like grimace because I said we instead of I.
Yeah.
And
He's
then,
like, yeah, he I don't know that he notices that. Let's see.
Okay.
Let me see.
And before he rolls a 20.
Yeah.
Well, get that 20 out of the way. That's how I look at it.
Go ahead. I'm gonna do a GM
Okay.
secret roll.
Okay. Okay. And I'll say, what brings you to these parts, traveler?
He looks around and he's like, "This place is a miracle." And do an intellect roll.
Another intellect?
Mm-hmm.
No boons or banes, just straight?
That's correct.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
You see on their packs they have quite a bit of heavy clothing. They're like very, very thick cloaks, which they're not wearing currently, which seems strange, right? Because it is damp and rainy and kind of cold.
Okay. I'll nod at their horses and I'll say, yes, this place would seem like a miracle of sorts to any wayward traveler. But where are you traveling to?
We're
There's
trying
nothing
to.
but swampland around here.
We were looking for this place, and he kind of like extends a hand to the side a little bit and says, "A place where winter has not fallen. Sent by the Queen herself. How has this come to be?"
Phaedron shrugs and he says, so this is a military scouting party?
I suppose you could say that's what it is.
Well,
We're scouts looking for... Well, we heard some rumors of a place where the snows had thawed, and here it is.
well, this place is already taken.
He kind of looks at you cockeyed and cocks his head to... What do you mean?
I mean, you can't just come here and just take over. This is part of...
I never said anything about that.
Well, you never asked for any of my hospitality either. Your men are making yourselves comfortable here.
We're just getting off our horses.
Hearing all this going on, Ruthor will go ahead and walk out there and look at Constable and kind of have him, give him a little head nod to come along.
Yeah. He kind of sheaths his sword, but the shield is still on his arm. As he walks out after Ruthor quite clankily, the thump as he walks.
Gazik he basically follows Ruthor out.
Ruthor would have no problem with that. Ruthor will walk out. Phaedron, there you are. Who are our guests? As he's eyeballing Sir, the middle guy looking like he's in charge.
Yeah. He hasn't introduced himself yet as his normal courtesy.
Did you introduce yourself, old man?
Well,
you come to my village. I didn't come to yours.
He kind of looks around and looks behind you, and he's like, "This is a strange motley crew."
We are but a clan. And we came here through many a struggle.
Of course you did. The snows are everywhere except around this place. Why is that?
Oh, maybe it's a blessing for us. You look like you've been traveling a long time.
Aye.
Maybe you would like some food and some comfort.
He kind of looks at Ruthor.
Perhaps. But first, I'd like to know how this place is not overrun with winter like the rest of everything.
Well, maybe once we get to know you, we'll share some of the secrets of this place.
He turns to one of his men and goes and says something to him, whispering something, and the man nods and walks over to his horse and begins to mount.
See?
There
you go.
So, I give you an invite, and you're being quite rude, to be honest. And I thought I was going to be the rude one because I am an orc.
He looks at you and he's like,
I'm not being rude. This man has a duty. I will come and eat your food and sit at your hearth.
I don't know if we want to let your friend leave right away. I'm sure you got others. We have others.
Oh. Constable is kind of at the ready, basically. He hasn't drawn his sword yet, but he's kind of watching that guy mounting up.
Yeah, he mounts up and he's looking to the man who is speaking for confirmation of what he should do. And he's like,
why not? Do you mean us harm? I mean, you know harm.
So far, all I've met from outsiders is harm. It's my duty to protect these orcs.
He looks at Gazik and then, scratches his beard and...
You mean that one there?
And he kind of waves his hand towards Gazik.
No. All the orcs here.
Where are these orcs?
Constable kind of looks to Tolson. Who is your commander?
I'm the commander here. I serve the queen.
A queen?
The queen.
The queen of what?
The queen of Mirror Lake.
Agent, what do you know of this Mirror Lake?
You just basically know where it is.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll turn to Tolson. Well, we still haven't been introduced, and
yeah.
I'll say, Commander, you must understand that this refuge of ours is sacred to us, and we treat all outsiders with a wary eye. So forgive us if we seem rude and somewhat mysterious to you, but surely you can understand our position.
Very well. Does this mean you will let my man pass?
Well, why would your men want to flee after traveling so long?
He is going to report of this place and its location.
No doubt, so your armies can march here.
He doesn't respond.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
Maybe
Constable. Go ahead. Constable ready to do a thing.
Well, seeing as you're my guest, and I, by rights, have to protect you, I cannot let your men wander around into the woods in this late of day. So you guys are our guests. You shall stay, and you live. You can
I
leave
see.
tomorrow.
Very well.
He nods and waves the man back down off his saddle, and he just slides off the saddle again.
Phaedron, would you be so kind as to tell the other orcs that this should be a peaceful moment and to not be rash and disarm themselves?
Phaedron nods and kind of eyes the commander once more, and then turns and goes inside.
Constable, would you be kind, since by rights we shouldn't allow armed individuals into our peaceful spot? Would you collect their arms and store them safely?
When you say that, he's like,
No. We won't be disarmed. We can stay in a place that is unoccupied.
and he kind of looks behind you, and there's probably, 10 houses there, and some of them don't have any signs of life, or they look kind of abandoned.
We'll just stay over there.
Nah, that one's occupied. But we will find you a spot and clear it out. In the meantime, you'll be at the hall, and we can put your weapons in the room that we clear out for you. You will not be without them long.
He just shakes his head.
I think we're at an impasse. I can't be disarmed. It would not be knightly.
Constable kind of steps up. You have no need to worry. We mean you no harm, so long as you do not mean us any harm.
We orcs are trustworthy people. Especially this lot.
He looks at Ruthor, and he's like, I've never heard of an orc that's trustworthy.
I never met a human that was trustworthy.
He looks back to the man that got off the saddle, and he begins to get on the saddle again.
Perhaps maybe it's wise if we return our offer of hospitality, since you're the one at the impasse. We just offer you warm food, warm place, and safe travels in the morrow as our guest.
He just nods, and the guy immediately turns the horse by the reins.
As soon as the guy starts moving the horse, Constable's going to do a thing, if that's okay.
Okay, hold on, guys. Let me. I didn't expect this, so just give me a second. As usual.
Never ever. I don't think ever have I felt more like we were the NPCs before. Just the weird type of NPCs you meet in Shadow of the Demon Lord. This is spot on.
Right.
This map is obviously going to be not what you might expect, so just bear with me.
Constable was all ready to try and persuade him and be like, no, don't worry, just put your weapons away. But then the guy got back on the horse,
And
now he has to do the thing. It wasn't Constable Spall. He has,
No, it's not.
he has a duty.
I think this is the tables of turn for NPCs and players right here in this moment in time.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're kicking you guys out of here and taking over. That's all. Yeah.
So the
Kind of worrisome.
let me make sure that Meepa can see because I think his token might be a little broke.
Meepa blind.
Yeah. Bad GM. Okay. So this is obviously not exactly what it looks like, clearly. But so Meepa and Tulip are inside. The man-at-arms with the little fiddly thing on his token is on the horse. Please declare your action types, quick or long.
Yeah, quick.
Yep.
Gotta do long
Type it in
because I
chat.
guess I went inside. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm so used the other game I have this show, the Demon Lord, we do the red or blue.
Yeah, you can do red. Red is quick. That's fine. That
yeah,
works.
I find that to be a pretty quick way, and then you don't have to read back through stuff if people type. And
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just personal note as well, so I don't forget what I did.
Okay, so anybody with a quick action set themselves as red, or just tell me.
And green is long.
Let's just do blue since it's right there. Ruthor, what are you gonna do? Did you say?
Refresh my memory. Long is move and action, right?
Yep.
And
Yes.
Quick is just action.
Yeah.
Or move. Okay.
Now, quick you can attack or move, but and then all the quicks go first, and then the longs go.
All right. Now, if I wanted, because I wasn't walking out armed. Like, if I wanted to pull my longbow off my back, would that be a long or quick?
That would be a long.
All right. So that'll be a long. That's blue, right?
Yep, blue. All right, so quicks can go first, and you guys go first.
Alrighty. Gazek is probably arguably faster than me, unless you want me to just go.
No, you
since
can
he's
go.
an NPC.
Yeah, you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Constable pulls out his sword, and you see him there's a slight creak as he kind of crouches down and then leaps. So I'm going to go ahead and use Mountain Fall. So he just leaps into the air, flames kind of bursting from his feet and such, as he goes flying and kind of lands on the other side of the man-at-arms, right next to him.
You
in
use
front
your
of the horse.
token. It should do all your damage
Yeah.
and stuff for you for Mountain Fall.
Awesome. Oh yeah, I forgot. So yeah, he'll go over there and boom, and then I needed an agility roll from him and the horse.
Okay. So let's do that first. That's for him. That's for the
Nice.
horse.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
do not get knocked over. So it just like rattles the ground around this guy and his horse, like kind of like stagger under the force of that. Gazek,
There's, like the pavement
yeah.
there is all busted up all over and everything.
yeah, and Gazek actually just shoots immediately at the knight. He doesn't wait. Oh man. So he just shoots this knight
Gazek,
straight in the
shit.
chest.
Wow.
And he's like, "Ah,
Sorry.
father! Let's kill them!" So it is this guy's turn, and he's gonna try to get away, but you're gonna get a triggered action to make a swing on him.
Definitely, I will do that. And I'm
Okay.
going to use prayer to get myself a boon. As he says, his classic line, ever vigilant, has become his kind of prayer thing.
Yep.
Here we go. Does 12 hit? He's aiming for the horse.
I would say that would hit. Yeah.
Okay.
So you cut. How do you like cut off the front legs of this horse?
Yeah.
Slamming this
of-
guy onto the ground, right? And kind of
Yeah,
rolls.
he brings the sword up high and kind of down into a reverse grip as he swings down high and kind of pulls upwards in the kind of the crook of its leg, essentially there at the joint, and rips it up off.
Whoa.
Clean through, yeah.
Okay. Okay. You guys who are going long.
Alright.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Alright. So I'll pull my bow off my back. And the reload for the bow is just a quick. It's a.
Yeah. You won't.
It's
Yeah.
automatic, right?
Yeah.
Alright. And then, guys, like, shut it. This one?
No, he shot the knight, Sir Tolson. Shot him straight in the
Alright.
chest.
Ruthor is gonna, yell out, "Keep the fat one alive!" And he's gonna shoot the man at arms right here.
Okay.
All right.
You should have a token macro for a longbow.
Yeah.
It should have all your boons and now your traits you might have to look at, but it should have everything associated with it in there. It should.
I don't think I have anything with traits that I really worry about.
Okay.
At least I don't think so. Where are the traits at in the sheet?
There's a tab.
Equipment tab.
Oh, for talents?
Yeah, talents.
Over character sheet and then equipment tab.
Bleeding strike. Just shoot, and I think it's all worked in.
All right.
Should all be worked in. Except yours is not. Damn it. So well, you miss anyway, but so you shoot. Oh, this guy. You shot this guy. That guy that did hit for 3. So okay. You do an extra 1d6 because it's not in your. Hold on. Let me see something. Your sheet real quick. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I love that I got to open the fight with Mountain Fall. I love that spell. I've never gotten to take the spell on anything before, and now I finally have, and I'm super happy about it.
So we were trying to keep Sir Tolson for leverage.
Weird. Hold on. I'm sorry. There we go.
Look at that.
There we go. Okay, so we'll just take that roll. So 4 damage. You should also have a 1d6 that's not in there. Just roll 1d6.
Alright.
So you do 8 damage. So you shoot him in the shoulder and he kind of like staggers back as he's kind of not expecting what was happening. Okay, whoever's next.
Repo was kind of expecting trouble.
Yep, you can have your weapon out, that's fine.
Oh, he had it out a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was whispering to Tulip. He races to the door very quickly, and he's got a little straw in his mouth, it looks like, and he blows at let's see, whoever he can see first.
They're all right in front of you, pretty much.
All right. How about this man-at-arms then?
Sure.
And he gets trickery for one boon. Ooh, that sucked. He missed.
Yep.
He's a little overeager.
Dart just flies over his head. Who's next?
We got her, then Tulip.
Just practice shot. Practice shot.
So Tulip will kind of follow Mifa out and bust through the doors and kind of look at what's going on with the men-at-arms and everything. And she'll take a shot at the closest one there.
Okay.
I love the imagery of this little halfling girl just bursting out of the door with the bow.
That hits. So that's 6 damage.
Oh wow, yeah. Trickery is cool.
Oh, I love trickery. It's so cool.
So they're getting pinned with, arrows now, like as they're just standing there kind of dumbly. And then Phaedron, I believe you're up.
Right,
Okay.
Raiders.
So he'll move up now that he has his favorite weapon with him, and he'll move up, engage this guy right here.
Okay.
Take a. So let's see. So yeah, just a regular swing. It's pole X. See what happens.
Oh yeah.
Oh, baby.
So that.
Pole axes.
Oh my god, that's like
So
12.
take
That's 17 damage. It kills
There
him.
you go.
Ouch.
There you go. So you'll not take her home from us. And he slices through the guy.
Back to the invader.
So Sir Tolson looks to the man-at-arms. He's like, "Get on your horse and run!" And he charges Phaedron over here, and
Uh-oh.
Kill the horse.
Here it
then
comes.
he will
I was
attack.
just gonna say, yeah.
No, there you go.
Damn.
That's a hit for 11 damage. So basically, he comes over and just like, basically, you're still got your poleaxe in the man-at-arms, and he stabs you in the side.
Wow, okay.
For Queen Victoria!
Yeah, you're right.
And this guy moves and mounts his horse. That's his turn.
Okay. Would his horse be kind of over where this guy got on his as well, or?
Yeah, he could be over here somewhere. Makes sense.
Ooh.
All right, so we're at a new round. So give me fast or long.
Whoops.
I'm kind of using my token to measure.
No, fine.
How do you change color on things again?
Just click on the token, and you see the circle. When it you see a cogwheel and then a circle. You see it?
Yes.
If you click on the circle, and then you'll see a red circle after that, and a bunch of icons. There you go.
And you click again to get rid of the red. Yeah.
Wait, which
Yep.
one's fast?
Red.
Thanks.
All right.
Okay. I'm just making sure all the stuff is, yeah, roughly. Darn it.
Angulating.
Yeah, basically.
All right. You guys are up.
Go ahead. I'll go last again.
I'll let Constable do his thing.
Go, Constable.
Alrighty, yeah, so this guy's on his horse. The other guy's there. I'm gonna go ahead and use Fire Blast.
Oh, you're counting it? Okay.
Yeah, so he's gonna use the big old cone attack on these guys. So yeah,
Okay.
he kind of calls out, "My heart is fire," as he thrusts his ruined sword forward and tries to ignite the guy and his horse and the other dude.
Oh my.
Alright. It's a shitty damage roll, but
Yeah. But still, guaranteed damage and spook the shit out of a horse by lighting it on fire, you know?
so I can do
damage roll? Wow. Oh, 3d6. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I rolled a 1 and a 2.
So they do edge to evade, right? So
Yeah, for half damage.
man, how do you roll off the sheet? I don't even know.
You just click the little the modifier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I see. This guy on the left is coming up here. He gets half.
He's good.
Guy on the right, he gets half.
Yeah. He's guaranteed 4 fire.
Hey.
Here's the horse.
Give me 1. Yes.
The horse does get hit,
Burn.
but it is
Yeah.
it is not dead. Okay, so he took half. So actually, this guy on the left is dead.
Oh, wow.
I imagine he kind of goes down screaming as the righteous fire of Constable consumes him.
Death to the bitch queen's minions.
Oh.
And so he just burns on top of this horse and kind of falls out of the saddle on the horse, kind of
I
like
forgot the other
stands
shot
there.
then, Yeah.
Brutal.
Wicked.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go ahead and go. That way I can talk to guys before I do my shot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, take the fat one alive. And with that, he'll do a shot at the man at arms over here.
Okay.
Well, there's only one left, so. No boons or banes, right?
It should already be worked in.
Oh, actually, I was gonna say, as Constable sees you knock an arrow to go at this guy, he kind of says again, ever vigilant, and he's gonna use prayer on you for a boon.
Okay.
Is that a triggered action or?
Yep, triggered
Okay.
action whenever anybody
Okay.
within short range of
So
me.
so give yourself another boon. Whatever's
Yeah.
whatever's in there.
Because there was a 2 in there.
Yep. So give yourself 3.
Oh, there was a 1 the last time. I was like, oh, okay. I gotta delete that. There's supposed to be a 0.
Yeah, that's
Oh wait. Oh wait, no.
Oh, that damage roll though.
That's actually enough to kill him.
Sweet.
Oh my.
And you rolled 3 5s on your boon, so it was completely unnecessary. Wow.
Yeah. So you shoot this guy through the neck as he's kind of getting to his feet off the horse and kind of just falls backwards.
You're all out of friends, fat man.
Give up.
Meepa will blow his blow dart again
Meepa's gonna blow his love.
at Fat Man.
Yeah, I love how
Oh.
he's just been deemed Fat Man.
It does hit.
For Fat Man.
I love Meepa.
Does that have any like alchemical effect, or is it just damage?
We had talked. This
That's right.
this should be a sleeping agent of some sort.
Okay, so it hits him in the back of the neck, and then he's gonna roll a willpower. Does that make sense?
Sure, your call.
Okay. So. So he's able to basically. I'll give it for a couple, like 3 rounds. We'll say he'll have to do that. He kind of like swats at the back of his neck briefly and just shakes his head. All right, Tulip and Phaedron.
Fat Man might take another.
So Tulip is gonna aim for his leg, as to not try and kill him.
Sure.
Nice.
Oh man, that's 10.
Oh, did I blow off his leg?
Man.
Tulip is gonna be
Let's
excited.
If it's
see.
5 higher than
I'm
his,
looking.
then
It's
you
not.
go.
It's not though. Yeah, that's.
Had to do. Yeah. Had to
So
do.
actually, he's not dead. You shoot him in the back of the thigh, and the arrow just goes right through his leg, and he screams out in pain.
Aha! I did it, Dad. Look.
I'll protect you, Dad.
I got you, Daddy.
Does he grab for his leg at all, or does he?
I mean, it's just this is happening like almost instantaneous. So I mean, he kind of is staggering under it, but he doesn't reach for it.
Okay. I'll use the haft of my weapon, and I'll try to do the same thing. I'll maybe try to like whack him in the thigh.
Okay.
You know, to
Yep.
maybe go down. You know.
Yep.
Okay. See if that works.
Down, me, but down.
16. That is a miss. You try to hit him with the half of your poleaxe, and somehow he brings his sword down to catch it and push the poleaxe into the ground. And he begins to curse, and Gazik's just aims straight at this guy's back and whiffs badly. It goes flying over his shoulder, and he looks at the bow, and he's like, "My bowstring's wet."
Wait. I have an ability that
Okay.
you can reroll.
Yep, go for it.
Oh,
You can reroll.
I love
I
halflings.
Yep.
It's what is it? Give me one sec. Good fortune. So whenever
Yep.
a creature within a short range. So do I click it?
Nah, you
So-
can. It doesn't matter. That's
So
fine.
he can reroll.
Okay, he does. He looks in and looks at Tulip, and he's like, "I'm better than her." And he tries to shoot again very quickly, and it misses as well, just barely. And he's like, "This bow, I need a fancy bow like you." And this guy's beaten badly. He's got arrow in his chest, arrow in his leg, and he kind of looks at his men that are dead, and he curses, and he throws his sword to the ground.
A wise man. First one I've seen.
He says,
Yeah, dinner.
No,
We're civilized orcs, Meepa.
rabbits.
Wow.
he throws his sword to the ground, and he's like, "I ask for mercy for a night."
You'll get it, which is more than we would probably get from you and your men.
Constable, would you kindly escort him into our hall here and secure him?
And his weapons.
Very well. Constable kind of looks to the chaos that he's created. there's a horse that luckily the rain is there to kind of put it out, but there's a lot of singed fur. Smells like burnt hair. The other guy is, his corpse is still burning away in his armor, so it's like, ugh. And then the other one's and walks over and kind of collects the guy.
Gazik, Meepa.
Ruthor?
Yes,
I need
Vader.
to borrow Gazik.
That is fine. Meepa, bring that horse meat inside.
Right away, boss.
We need to tend to you, Phaedron. You're wounded. And we need to tend to the fat man so he doesn't die.
Yeah, he's limping badly and just barely able to move, as Constable is more dragging him than he's actually walking.
Yeah. We will tend wounds inside.
Phaedron will turn to Gazik and say, as soon as I get this scratch bound, you and we got some bodies to bury.
Yes.
He looks at Phaedra and he's like, bury them, just burn them. Takes less time.
That's not, they fought as well as they could. We at least could give them a honest burial. They're not to be burned like horse carcasses.
He just kind of rolls his eyes.
So civil.
We are civil orcs, Guyzak. We have to adhere to some civility. Us orcs cannot be going around like the old orcs.
The old orcs had strength.
We do have strength. We proved it.
Mm.
But we also have to have empathy.
He's like, what is empathy?
The feeling, the need to do the right thing. Brave warriors die, we treat them right. Regardless of how much they've been bad.
We should kill this one.
And he points to the knight as Constable's leading him in.
Oh, we should learn what to do with him. We need to figure him out. Figure out what he's doing here. Figure out his queen, what her plans are. There's a lot to know before we go around killing people with knowledge.
He just kind of huffs off to go get the shovel.
Thank you, Phaedra. He needs to learn how to cope in this new world.
Yes, the sooner the better, for he grows like a weed.
He does. Thanks after his mother.
Constable kind of calls halfway in the door. I will need rope.
Yeah, you have rope somewhere that you can pull out.
Yeah, he's just kind of calling for someone else to get it while he guards the dude, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, you're able to secure him in the long hall.
Cool.
He's badly injured, but it's easy to secure. And you notice he's like snoring after a while from Mipa's sleeping agent.
Excellent.
You're not sure if he passed out or,
Constable
blowgun and
basically
darts
ties
have a
him to-
little.
And
Yeah.
he's tied to a chair quite thoroughly.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
And so once he's like that, Constable kind of goes over to Phaedra. You are wounded. May I see?
Phaedra grimaces and kind of plops down on in a chair or a bench or something nearby and opens up to, I guess, expose the wound in his side, I guess.
Yeah, you have a very deep, piercing wound from the tip of the sword in your side. It's bleeding fairly badly.
Badly.
Yeah, Constable kind of sees this and says, may the fire cleanse you, renewed. And I'll use faith healing.
Okay.
So you'll heal half your healing rate.
Hooray.
Which is what? 6, you get 3.
3.
Okay. So you're down 8 now.
So what does that look like? What is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of puts a hand over it, and he's kind of holding his sword, knelt down in front of you, kind of alongside it, and both of them kind of glow, and you can see, like, the fire in his eyes kind of almost comes down through a few joints in his arms and stuff, and down into the fingers, and you kind of feel the warmth coming from it as the wound kind of it almost looks like it's cauterizing, but it feels like it's just kind of knitting closed a bit.
Yeah, the bleeding stops, and it closes slightly, but you're still in some bit of pain.
Okay, Phaedra will kind of grunt, he expected it to be a lot more painful than it was, but it still kind of surprises him. and he'll just out of pride, he'll try to restrain himself and take it the best he can, and then he'll wave towards Tulip and kind of point to one of the shelves where there's like some some ragged bandages or something. Tulip.
Meepa says, "Wait, 1 minute.
Oh.
Let Meepa help." Meepa
I'm not ready for your pot yet, Meepa.
Meepa comes over, and he makes to inspect the wound. Are you stopping him or letting him look at it?
He doesn't have a can of tenderizer or anything in his hand.
He doesn't have anything in his hands at all.
Okay. Phaedron will watch very cautiously, yes.
Okay, yeah, he gets in real close, and then he licks the wound.
Oh.
And he says, Meepa spit have restorative powers.
So, here's a great thing about goblins is they're immune to disease, but they can carry them, which is fun stuff.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, when he does that, Phaedron will jump up, I guess, almost threatening to reopen the wound, and he'll cuss at Meepa and get away from me.
Meepa looks hurt, but he backs away.
And Tulip will grab the bandages and everything and hop on over, really excited to Phaedron.
Burn it with fire.
Constable's eyes kind of flare up as he says that.
I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can make that happen. But no, yeah, he kind of looks at Meepa kind of... If he were capable of looking soft, he would look softly at Meepa, but yeah. But he kind of turns to Phaedron. I would do more, but there may be others. We should sustain our power.
Phaedron nods and he says, "Thank you again, Constable. You know that you always have my thanks."
He nods. And mine to you.
And Phaedron will kind of look at Meepa again and kind of give him the eye, like, I don't know about you.
He's only trying to help.
He says, you just wait. You see, you get all better soon.
Okay.
I love the fact that he's basically now, one way or another, confirmed himself as taking credit. So, yes, after this point, it will eventually heal, and he'll be able to see, I told you. So,
we'll have a zombie in our midst by tomorrow morning. Let's see.
Constable, can you take a look at the fat one's wounds?
Yes. Sorry, I had extra bread.
No, you're good.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't think we want to let the orcs lick him again.
That is probably wise. Do you want me to heal it or wake him?
Just bandage him. Or I will.
We don't need him dying right now.
Constable kind of looks him over and very well. And yeah, he'll use face healing on the guy.
Alright. So he gets half his healing rate, right?
Yep.
10 points.
He gets
20 points.
Yeah, no. He gets 3. You do the same thing to him over his leg, particularly that has the arrow sticking through it. You're able to back out the arrow. And he kind of flutters awake as that's happening and kind of looks up at Constable and kind of shrinks away at the beginning. Get away from me, mechanical beast!
The metal orc is healing you.
He just kind of looks over at Ruthor.
Oh, crazy.
We didn't want none of this.
You attacked us. We were going to leave.
You would have told others.
Others are coming anyway.
Uh-oh.
We didn't know.
Fire in his eyes starts to glow pretty bright now, like very close to this guy, because he's like kneeling down to heal the wound. How many?
A battalion. 50 men.
50 men, you're saying?
50 holings, oh no.
50 will feel the flame.
Can we say 50?
He says very clearly to Tolson's face, knelt down in front of him.
He just looks at you and he's like, yes, I'm sure. When we do not report back, I hope you can stay up forever, all of you.
I hope you know that you were never here.
He
Indeed.
shrugs. They know where I went. They know my duty. They know what I would have done.
Shame you never made it. Or you could talk to us and we could talk to you. We didn't want this. We wanted you to come talk and eat peacefully. Not flee like bandits.
Bandits steal. We've stolen nothing. We want to know the secrets of this place, so we can bring it to all of Rule.
Maybe all of Rule doesn't get to have all this.
Then someone will take this place from you, if not us, someone else. When they find it.
See, now this is the kind of talk we should have had, isn't it? Instead, it led to bloodshed. Needless bloodshed.
He doesn't really say anything. He just kind of like reaches for his leg.
Yeah, his arms are bound.
Oh, that's right. Well, he tries to reach
And
for
he
his
tries,
leg.
and it's like, oh no. And yeah, Constable looks at him and says, had you been less worrisome, your men would live.
And your leg would feel better.
Yes, then Tulip would not have to shoot through your leg. What a fine shot that was.
Thank you.
So tell me, Fat One, what is your queen to do now that your men has been wasted?
He looks at you and says,
Her decisions are her own. But you have attacked, in my opinion, us unprovoked. She'll kill you all.
We attacked unannounced intruders.
We announced ourselves.
No, you were on your horse. We asked who you were.
We didn't know anyone was here, you dumb orc.
Meepa, are you back yet?
Meepa's so tired from hauling horse.
Would you mind using some of that horse and making a meal for the Fat One? I care not if you poison him or not, so it's no worrisome to me, but I'd rather you not for the moment.
Alright, Meepa goes over to Fatty and says,
How you like your meat? You like cook or raw?
he looks at Meepa, like his jaw just kind of becomes agape, and
Humans like raw meat, Meepa.
No, cooked. What is this?
Well,
Give it to him raw.
Cooked, more work, more work.
barbarians
Meepa never sleep.
Meepa, barbarians eat raw meat. He's a barbarian.
I'm a knight.
and he's like getting offended. Gazit kind of like comes back in from outside, finding a shovel somewhere, and You notice he doesn't have a shirt on. He's taken it off at some point for some reason. And the knight, like, kind of at first doesn't really pay much of attention, but then you kind of see him kind of looking over at Gazik very closely.
Oh, is his birthmark exposed?
Oh, the mark, yeah.
Yeah, Constable is kind of watching Tolson's face to gauge him as this happens.
He's just looking at him very, very, like he's studying something or trying to figure something out through the waves of pain that he's having.
Gazik, where is your clothing?
It's wet. All soaked. I threw it off. I'll get a dry shirt after I'm done building or digging graves. This should be a job for the old one or the new one.
Kind of like nods towards Meepa.
The small orc doesn't look like he could dig much.
How old you? Meepa 17.
I'm 4. Going on almost 5.
See Meepa's eyes narrow just a little bit. And then he goes back to trying to feed the fatty.
Yeah. So Tolson doesn't
I don't want any food.
It might be a long time before you get your next food.
Meepa just shrugs and starts nibbling at it himself.
Oh, everyone. We have to realize something. We may have to leave.
What?
If what he says is true, and there's a battalion of soldiers coming here, there's no way we can stand up to anything, any amount of men of that size.
If they have more, yes. But we do not know how many.
Meepa licks his 2 index fingers and shoves them in the fatty's ears. And says,
Meepa know hiding places in the swamp.
Are they safe?
Are they clean?
Yes. Pretty safe.
Pretty clean.
Well, if we remove the fat man, bury the bodies, they never came here. Which means there'll be a fresh start with hopefully a more civilized leader.
Trust me, I know they're kind. There's no way that they'll leave us here to live, peacefully amongst ourselves. Once the Queen's men get here, we won't be our fate won't be our own. We'll be under the Queen's will. And he knows it.
Indeed. Even if they came, eventually they would take the place. Our home. So we should let them have it. You see, as he says that, his eyes are quite aflame.
You can't just leave. No? Not how far we've come.
Gazik nods. He says, Tulip's right. We should fight them. Kill them.
Constable turns to Gazik. We must be vigilant, careful.
Ever vigilant.
Constable nods. He would make suitable bait. If they bring 50 men, let them come into the great hall to retrieve him. Let the doors be lit.
And burn alive.
Let them burn.
Gazik looks at Constable and then Ruthor and then back to Constable and he's like,
Yeah. That's why you're my father's second in command.
Meepa says,
Yeah, a lot of questionable things have rubbed off on Constable over the 2 years.
Meepa says, fingers getting dry, everyone quiet. He pulls his fingers out of the guy's ears and licks them all again, gets them more wet, and then shoves them back in his ears again.
Yeah, and he's trying to like get away from you, but obviously he can't. And he's just like, and he's like, when somebody speaks, he's like looking at that person, and then when the other person says, so he's following along with the conversation. It's not like he can't hear this.
That's why my fingers are in his ear.
Yeah.
And I'm moving him around with all
Okay.
Wiggling them.
Making the suction sounds.
Yeah, he's just like,
yeah.
he's trying, yeah, he's just very annoyed.
Gotta keep that.
Phaedron, using the table, kind of teeters and stands, and he looks around at everyone and he says, just like before, we've gone through this before, I've said this before. All of this means nothing. It's just a place. We need to keep living, to keep surviving. There's no need to throw our lives away, which is what we'll be doing if we stand here or sit here and wait for those soldiers to arrive. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be a fortnight from now, but if it comes, it comes.
I agree. We should destroy those that come after, and then take to Meepa's hiding place. We will watch and wait if more come.
The bad thing is, it's raining a lot. The fire won't burn as good.
He's right.
Meepa, let the fat one listen.
All right. He takes his fingers out and smells them. Earwax.
Yeah.
Fat one, now that you can hear us.
He's looking at you.
Tell me about this queen of yours.
What do you want to know?
What kind of queen is she?
The most benevolent. The strongest. The fittest to rule. Queen Victoria. 27th of her name. From an ancient line.
And he just goes on and on and on about
Yeah.
something an orc would not
She
appreciate.
sounds like a royal bitch to me.
And who is the king?
He looks at you and
There is no king. He
Well,
died in the winter. When the winter came. And the frost came up.
Maybe we could blend the clans.
he's like, he kind of like doesn't understand what you mean. He gives you kind of a sidelong look.
A marriage. One that will bond everybody. One big
He
try.
stares at you like he just is completely flabbergasted and doesn't know how to respond. He doesn't actually say anything.
Meepa volunteer.
Yeah, go after her.
He said she's the bestest.
Ah,
Yeah.
my young son's almost of age soon enough.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Please explain this to me. He's like 4.
They're very short-lived, but
In dog years.
They grow
Yeah.
crazy quick, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, no. Close out.
Yeah. Tolson is like looking between everybody.
Madmen. I've been accosted by insane people. Let me go.
Oh, you called us people.
No, we're not people. We're orcs. We're better than people. I met people as a slave once. You're a people, I'm sure. Fat one.
He just says, "What do you want?"
We need to decide your fate.
How long before your battalion gets here?
By the morrow. We were the advanced scouting party.
Does Meepa think he's telling the truth?
Give me an intellect roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say Constable kind of washed as well if that's an option.
Yeah, everybody can.
Oh boy, more intelligence here.
Ever vigilant.
No.
Fuck. Only when I say it do I completely screw it.
Well, I'll be damned.
Ever intellect.
How is Ruthor on, picking up on this now?
Because he's thinking about, oh, hey, maybe I can marry my son off to the queen. He's suddenly more interested, yeah.
We don't have time.
They won't be here by tomorrow, but they will be close, I'm assuming. Fat man needs to learn how to hide his eyes better. Maybe he doesn't need eyes. But anyways, if we are gonna go with a mix of our plans and use him, perhaps maybe we should take his tongue so he can't talk.
You torture me then. Fitting for an orc, scum.
You came here, remember? You didn't want peace. We wanted peace. We shall have our peace. Us orcs will not be slaves again.
No one wants to enslave you, you fool.
Phaedron, you seem to be more adept to these people. You're a wise orc in their matters. What do you think will happen when the Queen's men get here?
Simple. They'll ask him what happened to the rest of his men, and he'll tell them that we killed them and will be hung.
So it's either be slaves or hung, huh?
You should flee.
I'm sure you are, small orc.
So
Poor Tulip.
we have to decide what we're gonna do.
Do we have anything that we could light a fire to light the whole hamlet on fire at once?
It might be tough to get to burn.
It doesn't matter if the hamlet or any of these buildings burn. It's not the buildings, it's the land, the place that they want.
Indeed.
Well, I'm thinking when they get here, they will do what this dumb fat one did and make themselves at home. If it's all goes to flames, even though it's raining a ton, they would kill them all and give us time to find our better spots. But the rain is going to be a hindrance, I'm sure.
Constable kind of clanks around again. I must admit, as much as I wish to see those who may drive us out burn, Phaedron may be right. Perhaps we should leave now. and find another place. And he kind of looks to Tolson. And leave no tale of our presence. Then we can return if we wish. And they will know nothing. We will be but travelers.
Good point.
Ruthor, what do you think about killing a tied up in cold blood?
Yeah, that's not civilized. And I'm learning about this civilized stuff. Although I'm against it. We leave him here and they find him, he'll surely lead them to us. Just in case he heard with Meepa's ear, fingers in his ear, which I doubt he did. Sometimes one must be barbaric for the good of the whole.
Gazik looks at Ruthor and he's like, "Let me do it, father."
No, son, I want you to be better.
No, this is for the good of the tribe, you just said.
This is true.
And he walks over and grabs like a kitchen knife, essentially, or something akin to it, and like turns Tolson. Good.
Yeah, Phaedron he'll intercept him. He'll say, as possibly, and he looks at Constable, as possibly the oldest one here, I'll do.
Let me do it, father. Tell the old one to let me do it.
Wait, Gazik, do you really want your first kill to be someone who's just lying there?
Untie him. I'll fight him.
We are not untying him. So fat, dumb one.
It's just adding more on after a while.
Soon it'll be fat, dead, dumb one.
I shall show you mercy. Your death shall be fast. How would you like your body treated?
He looks at Ruthor and then Gazik and he's like, "Let the boy kill me then. If you went to show me mercy."
You want the boy to kill you?
He just
Get
nods.
a read of Tolson. This seems weird. Constable's like kind of wondering why he wants that and not.
That is a wee bit questionable.
Go ahead, you can do an intellect.
Alright, oh. Wait. Oh yeah, I forget, I have fancy buttons up there, yeah.
So fast.
Fucking nothing did I do.
Never vigilant.
I'm rolling so low. Ever absent-minded, it seems, is the new thing.
I wish I could honor your request, but I'm not asking how you want to die. I'm asking what you want done with your body.
Gazik's like, "Father, let me do it."
Quiet, son.
No, he's not enough of a challenge.
He
So
likes to-
fat, dumb one. Would you like to be buried? Burned? What?
Drowned?
Eaten?
Everyone's been... We've all got fucking cabin fever. It's become so twisted over 2 years. And after encountering some kind of demon...
He ignores all these things. And he's like, "Boy, do you know what that is on your shoulder there?"
Oh no.
And Gazik kind of like looks at it. "A birthmark." They have the same voice somehow, but and
Yeah, that happens.
yeah, Tolson basically kind of like chuckles as he just sits there. "You'd best run, boy. You'd best run."
Alright. Enough, since you don't want nothing special done with your body. Phaedron, end them quickly.
Phaedron will walk over to Tolson and he'll get on one knee so that they're kind of, eye to eye, and he'll whisper to him. He'll say, "What do you know of the orb child's birthmark?"
Just looks at you and spits in your face.
Okay. Phaedron will wipe it off, and he'll kind of smile grimly, and he'll say, "At least the last act that you can do is perhaps be of some use instead of rolling in the dirt like a peasant. I know how your kind are, all haughty and above everyone else, always looking down your noses at us common folk. Now I'll give you one last chance before you go to hell to tell me, what do you know about the orc's birthmark?"
He kind of, he smiles and says, "Go to hell, old man. Get it over with."
Hold, Phaedron.
I'll pull him to his feet. If is that possible?
Yeah, sure.
Mipa says,
Asking politely, maybe not best way. There are other ways to get answers.
Are you trying to find out about my son's birthmark?
Yeah. He knows something.
Well, then, instead of a quick death, fillet him.
Okay.
Did he say fillet him?
Yes.
Fillet or filate?
Oh, fillet. Jeez.
We had like 3 different instances.
Phaedron shakes his head. And I don't want to torture the man as much as I hate his guts.
Well,
I'd rather just give him a quick death.
I'd rather too, but he knows something, like you said. He won't talk. Nobody alive can hold it in forever when they're getting cut up.
Mipa McFatty squeal.
What say you, fat dumb one? Do we have to do this to find out what you know?
He just stares at you. Do your worst, scum.
Yay!
Alright.
Phaedron, if you don't want to do it, Mipa has volunteered, and he seems eager.
Phaedron will stand up kind of with a disgusted look on his face, and he turns to Tolson and says, the big loyal knight had his chance. So may whatever god you kneel to have mercy on you. And he'll turn and wave his hand towards Tulip, and as of, come on, you don't need to see this.
Okay.
Tulip will snatch up her bow and
Gozik's like, let her watch. Let the girl watch.
Dad says I have
Silence,
to
boy.
go.
Silence.
This is an uncivilized thing. They don't have to watch this. Constable, please make sure the fat dumb one doesn't die during this process.
Very well.
Then Ruthor will pull up a chair and sit right in front of the fat dumb one.
Oh boy.
Constable will be behind him, ready to administer healing. Although he does seem somewhat reluctant, but in the end is kind of like, well, we need to know. In his mind, he's like, we need to know.
So you're gonna torture this guy is what's happening, okay?
Alright.
People in the room. People in the room. Roll 1d3 and add that to your insanity score.
Are you sure you don't want to add some karate?
1d3.
Ever vigilance.
Meepa
I feel like this is a good spot for corruption too.
Yeah.
1d3.
Yeah.
Clearly Meepa's enjoying that.
Everybody,
Vision.
get yourself 3, I guess.
Yeah.
So you torture him. And let's see. Ooh, man. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to go this way.
Oh, neither did I.
Meepa's very inventive. when it comes
Yeah,
to
Meepa.
this sort of thing.
Where's our insanity area at?
It's should be. I'll look in a second. Oh my.
You guys.
Oh my. He got. Oh my gosh, he actually got under.
So does he
Yeah,
screw
zero.
like a...
He does.
He's talking pretty quick.
Good heavens.
So
they just pull a
man
fingernail
don't
out
like-
and that's it?
Man
Yeah.
don't like taste of his own eyeball. Too bad.
yeah. So the scene switches to a few hours later, and this guy, his arm is flayed. He has one eye. His tongue is split slightly, and he, with almost a lit. The boy, he's the marks. Magistus say, defeat the snow. The mark. Look for the mark always. Defeats the snow. This place is nothing. The boy drives back the snow. And his head hangs as he finally dies.
Sorry, I found my insanity. I added my 3 to it. It's a total of 6.
What's that? Oh, you already had 3?
Yeah, I guess. I already had 3 from, I guess, one of the previous ones.
Okay. So you have 6.
Alright. I didn't want it to go this way. But people will be after my son now.
If they find out. But they will follow the area of rain, the lack of snow.
We have to figure something out. We can't run forever.
Armored men not like swamp. Meepa no good hiding place.
Yeah, going out there.
This is true.
So Ruthor, Gazik wasn't in the room when this happened because you made him leave. Do you tell him this?
Oh, that's gonna be a negatory at this moment.
Okay.
At this moment.
Yeah.
Do you tell Tula? Because basically the only people in there were Constable and Meepa. So are you telling people this, or are you?
I'm gonna end up sharing it with Phaedron. But that'll be when, it's just a Constable and Phaedron and Ruthor in the same room. And
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Meepa knows, but he's gonna stare at Meepa. Small orc, not a word.
Meepa puts his finger to his lips.
I think Meepa has a good idea. If
He
we
does.
find a place that they cannot march to,
And it gives
Perhaps.
us,
an island,
yes. Meepa, how long would it take to get to the swamp?
Hmm.
How long, Mr. Demon Lord?
Let's say 2 days ish.
3 sleeps, unless you walk fast.
We have no time to waste. We need to get as far ahead of this group as possible.
we can use the remaining horse to haul food
Yes.
and equipment.
So
Their
one
armor may
one
be
thing
useful.
one thing you should note is that the fastest way in or out of here are actually, you have a small boat, like a large canoe. So you've used it to fish and to move about, so you can do that. And Meepa would know that there's all kinds of tributaries going towards the swamp. That he got here on a canoe himself, so.
Maybe the horse is better served as food.
Perhaps.
We can salvage whatever stuff the men-at-arms had in their packs that aren't destroyed or whatever.
Yep.
And I want to take one of those Talberts to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we can, like everyone, fill up with whatever food and water and whatever else we need, and then we'll just set the horse loose, I guess. Or if you guys want to kill it for food, that's fine. And then go from there.
Yes.
I don't suppose Tolson had anything on him that stuck out.
I don't know.
No, not really. He just had his sword, and he has a shield and his armor. But no, he didn't really have it. He had some coin, but
Yeah.
you've never seen. You haven't had any need for coin in a long time.
Yeah.
Still though, if no one else wants the shield and sword, a backup is useful.
If you want the sword and shield, have it, Constable.
Very well.
And with that, Ruthor will walk out, and I'm assuming that the rest of them are kind of outside the room area, or
Sure.
those in the hall.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, so Phaedron, Tulip, Gazik, gather your things. We are moving. We are going to take the canoe. We need to kill the horse for food, scavenge anything. Time is of the essence. There's a lot at stake here.
I'll bury the knight.
Okay.
Yes. And then
Gazik's pleased that he doesn't have to do that. He hands you the shovel.
Gazik, gather all their clothing and stuff and burn it.
And he kind of he looks like he's gonna complain, but where do you want me to burn it? In one of the houses?
It does not matter. Anywhere but where we're standing currently.
He nods and goes off to do that.
He'll grab Gazik's hand and look at it and rub the inside of his hand. Say, boy, you need to do more digging.
Frowns and whatever, old man. And he kind of just walks off.
If you want some fingers, Meepa, she'll have them.
That's disgusting.
Oh my.
I don't know about me,
Hey, at least
Long trip.
it could have been worse. I'm sure.
To munch on during
Somehow.
long trip.
You know.
Yeah.
Small steps in becoming civilized. He's obviously been with the barbarians.
Which Devon?
Alright, so you
you know, I just say keep your hands and arms inside the ride at all times.
yeah. Alright. So you begin kind of following Meepa out of there. There's these winding what look like a river, like very, very flooded rivers. You've been to some of these spots, but haven't ventured too far. Let me fix this because Meepa's token is messed up. Thank you
That much
for
better.
reminding me. And you're heading generally north-ish. The current is behind you right now, pushing you out. And you're on 2 separate canoes. Meepa's in his tiny little canoe, and the rest of you are in your larger one that just barely fits all of you. And, on your way.
There's room for one more little person.
He kind of winks at Tulip. he holds out one of his snacks.
Oh.
No, thanks. I'm very good. Thanks.
Gazik, yes, go over there. Even out the boat, I'm cramped.
And he's like, kind of like, starts like pushing his legs out.
We don't want to tip over. Easy.
Grunts. So you are, you notice that you're starting to catch some steam. You're going fairly quickly. Not all of you actually have oars, even. 2 of you have oars. Who is piloting the boat, so to speak? Besides Meepa and his, clearly.
I guess I could be in front.
Do that or I couldn't, no matter.
And then we could switch up, and then Constable could probably be in the back, because he's probably a constant, he doesn't tire out too easily, probably.
Yeah, he can basically go for as long as you want.
Yeah. So do that, and then let Gazik go at it.
Yes, Gazik needs to
just to give him something to do to keep him quiet.
build up some strength.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, he doesn't look like particularly interested in rowing.
Father, let the lower clan do the rowing.
Lower orcs are just as much as our brethren as me and you. You must learn to pull.
But lower than us, Father. You are the chieftain of our tribe.
Yes. But you must pull your share just as much as I will. We are one people, one orc.
This is... He just grunts. So basically everybody's going to be rowing at one point or another is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Probably except for Tulip.
Yeah, if Gazik catches that she's not going to row, he like throws what about her?
Have you learned nothing about civilization? The women are revered.
Yeah, Gazik.
Revered?
Yes. Treated kindly and nice.
Since when?
In other words, suck it.
Short arms.
They're not as strong as our men orcs.
Clearly.
But I can put a arrow between your eyes. Wanna go?
She frowns, or he frowns.
Fine. Maybe she should go sit with the little one then.
And Gazik is smaller than Meepa, but he still calls him little one.
You'll learn, young son.
I'll yell at Meepa, and if he can kind of get alongside us, and ask him where are we close to the area where he saw the other halfling that looked like Tulip.
He says, no, that may be 2 more days beyond a hiding place. But I take you there later if you want.
Maybe later.
So you are on your way, and you notice that eventually, you start seeing like these, like the bubbling of the river as you like start to get choppy in your canoe as you're going past, and currently the two that are rowing are Gazak and Ruthor. And so all of a sudden you come around this bend and there's a drop over this rock. So the people that are piloting their boats, which is Gazak, Ruthor, and Mipa, please roll intellect first.
Oh boy. Hey, there we go.
Alright, so so the difference is a -1. So everyone's going to get a -1 to this roll. Your canoes, basically, Gazak is actually in front and sees it first. Father, a drop! And everyone needs to either roll agility or strength. Their choice. You have 1 bane to this roll.
Right. Yeah, Constable is going to kind of grip the boat as best he can, and ever vigilant.
Oh my god.
It'll cancel out the bane. Come on, Constable, you cannot screw this up.
Meepa's obviously looking back to make sure Tulip is safe.
Yeah,
Did my roll go through?
I did not see it.
Alright, let me try that again. Yeah, no. Shit.
Don't worry, Meepa noticed.
Oh my gosh. So, the canoes just come down and turn, and Meepa's canoe T-bones the big canoe and basically tips it on its side. And after all it's said and done, everyone is in the water except Phaedron. And
Well, I got some walking to do, guys.
yeah, you see Constable begin to sink as you're all like floundering. So go ahead and role play what that looks
looks
like.
around from underwater at the others and starts, just straight down feet first.
I'm not even sure if
Is there anything left in the canoe, or is it just empty? Did everything fall out? Dump?
There's some things in there.
And well, I want to try to see if I can get like, if my pole axe is still there or a rope or something. I want to use that to try to start fishing.
Sure, you can say that your poleaxe is still there.
Okay. I'll see if I can get to. Well, first of all, do I know if everyone can swim or not?
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering myself. I don't even know if Ruthor would be able to swim.
You know what happens when Constable goes in water.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
He sinks. You have never taught you've never seen anyone swim before. Gazak, I would say Gazak and Tulip maybe have. You've been around water enough that maybe you could. I'd leave it up to you guys.
Well,
That's up to you.
Like
Poorly.
Meepa lived in the swamps a long time too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll try to fish Ruthor out first because he looks like he's
Struggling? Yeah, he knows how to swim, but not well at all.
Okay, so give yourself, we'll just say 1 boon since Phaedron is assisting you.
Alright, what am I rolling for this swimming and getting out?
Agility or strength.
Alright.
see, this is why Constable wanted to just use the horse.
Yeah. What is going on? That you did 11 boons, my man.
I don't know if I can get it that funny.
He was so nervous his finger got bite.
Yeah, so you go to help Ruthor and he just like goes under the water. Give yourself 1d6 plus 2 damage. That is for Ruthor. 1d6.
Stop fighting and just grab it.
Alright, you take 5, so you just take a big mouthful of water. Okay. So what is everybody else doing? That was Phaedron's action for this quote-unquote turn.
Meepa's just trying to get to anything that's floating.
Yep.
Constable's walking to shore.
So go ahead and anybody who's just trying to get to the canoes or whatever, just agility or strength rolls.
Constable as well, or?
No, he doesn't need to.
Yeah, I imagine there's like steam bubbles from like the
Yeah.
hot parts of him hit the water, kind of coming up in a trail as he walks across the bottom.
Okay.
Since Meepa did so well, can he assist Tulip to try to get if he sees that he's in trouble?
I'm trying.
Sure. Why don't you roll? Yeah, that would give her a 1 if she got a boon. So she would get it. So yeah, I would say Tulip and Meepa get to a canoe. So how does Meepa help her?
He's gonna swim by, and he sees that she's gulping and kind of going under the water again, and he grabs her by the hair and pulls her along with him as he's kind of frantically kicking and paddling with his other hand, and her head's probably above the water now, maybe screaming in pain a little bit, and he gets to the canoe and kind of helps to pull her up to the canoe, and he says, "Meepa hero."
Meepa, pull my hair.
Yeah, Phaedron, you see Gazek like just flailing and like going under as his hands. You see his hands above the water, but nothing else.
Okay.
Ruthor, you see that
from down
too.
at the bottom as well.
Yeah, probably not. You have no idea what's going on up there.
Probably a lot of muck being kicked
yeah.
up. That's what I figured.
How's Gazet?
Gazek and Ruthor are in bad shape. They're drowning. Yeah, that was Gazek.
Okay. Phaedron looks over his shoulder quickly to see that Tulip and Meepa are at least hanging onto the side of the canoe. So he'll once more try to reach out with the haft of the poleaxe and see if he can maybe get it under one of Ruthor's armpits and kind of hook him in order to kind of get him up and towards me, bring him towards me. Because I think I might have to jump in if it doesn't work. I don't want to.
And can Meepa see Gazak?
Yep. You as you get on the boat, you see Gazek flailing about.
Meepa jumps in the water to get
Okay.
Gazak.
Okay. All right. Let's do Phaedron first. Give me Ruthor. Give me a agility or strength with a boon, please.
Grab it. Quit fighting.
And you do. How do you get hauled up in there?
As he's in the water, circling around, not knowing which way is up, and he feels a poleaxe touch him in the arm, and he just grabs it like a rat would grab a stick driving by in a river,
So as you do that, Phaedron's kind of surprised to see Meepa just leap back into the water, and begin to swim towards Gazek. And Gazek tries to clutch onto you with a boon. He is able to do that, so you're able to pull him above the water, Meepa. How does that look?
Awkward. He's trying to pull him by the shoulders up because he doesn't have any hair to grab, unfortunately. So he just has to kind of put his hands under his shoulders and just kind of try to kick and lever his head up above the water. But now, it's a little tough for Meepa, but he's trying.
So you guys are above the water. What's everybody doing now?
Walking.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as Phaedron sees that Ruthor has a good grip on the canoe, then he'll turn around and try to help Tulip in.
Yeah, Tulip got in. She's in.
She's in? Okay.
Yeah, she's in.
Okay, if Tulip's in, and then if Ruthor is grabbed on, then Phaedron will kind of lean over and try to snag Gazik then from Mipa.
Okay.
To give him a hand.
So he'll do this with one, actually 2 boons. No.
Oh no.
So he. Yep.
Mipa's getting tired here.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mipa, you can keep him from taking any more drowning damage, quote unquote, by taking it yourself.
Yeah, Mipa will do that.
All right. So roll me 1d6 plus 2 for Mipa.
Tough being hero.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no. I'm not happy.
So Mipa, you can roll to try to kind of get Gazik to the boat. That would be your agility or strength, or you could do it yourself.
Definitely agility. Now I'll try to do him. Do I get my boon for my swimming stuff or not?
You would not get a boon currently because of
'cause
just
it's
holding
not-
on to Gazik.
That makes sense. All right.
Yep. So you're able to
Gotta
kind
love
of like
Goblin.
shove him over towards the canoe, and he's able to reach up and grab onto Ruthor's back, leaving only you in the water now.
Yeah.
And
he's
I would
starting to
say,
get tired, and
Yeah.
he's having trouble keeping his head above water. Now you can hear him gasping and choking.
Get me, pa.
you guys gonna help the goblin out of the water next?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Is he reachable to me?
You've got Gazik hanging on to you. You can't really help.
I'll grab him by the nape of the neck.
Okay. Good. And Mipa, give me a roll with a boon.
Okay.
On agility again.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So Phaedron, you just haul him into the canoe while he's like reaching for you. So. And as you finally get all into the main canoe, you kind of see Constable slowly walk out on shore there.
Okay. If there's a paddle left or by hands and arms, we'll have to try to maneuver to shore. Maybe we should just try to make some kind of camp there and dry ourselves out and see how bad the damage is.
Yes, some people you're able to get to shore. You're basically just the canoe just kind of comes up up on shore by itself almost, and you're able to kind of crawl out of the river. And the rain is still coming down from earlier. And you're able to haul yourselves out of the water, kind of, and regroup.
Yeah, there's a lot of steam coming from Constable.
Constable, glad to see you. Walked out of the situation pretty fine.
Indeed. Water is disconcerting. He really didn't like that. That whole event, that was terrible for him.
Tulip, are you okay?
I drank a lot of water, but hydrated.
Mipa, how are you?
Hero, very tired. Whew.
Phaedron, we owe you a lot.
We aren't out of the... He was going to say out of the water yet, but we aren't safe yet. We still got to make some kind of fire or something.
Yes. Gazik, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Father. I need to learn how to swim better, I think, instead of worrying about digging and doing what this old man says.
He's a wise orc. Wise orcs have lots of hair, apparently.
Phaedron will get up and see if maybe he can find a I think it's called like a cope of trees, or somewhere less damp, so he can maybe gather some kindling or something to try to make a fire with.
No, probably not.
No, it's that bad, huh?
It's that bad.
Wow.
There are trees, but a fire is just not going to happen. You can kind of keep yourself a little bit covered from the rain, but
Okay.
Well, huddle next to
So we
constable.
find like some heavy cover. Yeah. Huh?
you find a few trees that you're able to kind of hide beneath.
So it's not really as wooded as the picture shows. It's more sparse.
I mean, there are some trees, but in that trees is standing water. They're like coming up out of the water.
Okay. So are we actually in swamp land yet, or not quite? Or?
Not quite. You do notice there's a lot of birds kind of circling overhead. You're not sure what that's about, but you see a lot of animals about. Birds, and there's like some long-legged birds kind of in the water, fishing and that sort of thing. It's actually kind of a serene picture, even though you're all wet and kind of stuck.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll try to gather everybody up under as much of a canopy, that's fairly or drier than standing out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can prop up the canoe to kind of also give us a little bit of like a lean-to or a little more shelter of some sort.
Yeah, you can do something. That's not a big deal.
And I'll just let them know, hey, we can gather some branches and kind of make something kind of like some kind of like bedding of sorts, so that you don't have to sleep on or lay on the bare ground, so to speak, and try to rest, because we're gonna have to figure out what our next move is.
Yeah, so it isn't all as impossible as you guys first think. You're able to find the oars, which is helpful, and you have both canoes. It is growing late in the day, and so you spend the night here, and it passes uneventfully, except...
I was gonna say, is anybody who's hurt?
Almost everybody.
Okay, so
Meepa...
Gazik kind of gets priority.
Yeah,
'Cause
Gazik is...
we're gonna rest up. He'll use up all his healing, basically.
Yeah, that's fine. You can heal everybody. It's not a big deal.
Cool.
So as the night passes, Constable fills you with the flame of healing or whatever, and the next day you're off again. And over the next few days, actually, Meepa leads you to this swamp. So if you want to just roleplay how that looks, I'm just trying to kind of push forward a little bit, so we're not gonna
I get you.
pump over 3 hours.
Meepa just looks he visibly looks at home. Like he seems more relaxed. He's looking about. He points out. If he sees like birds, he says, "See, lots of good food."
Well, it's not as homely. We can make a home here.
And he
Constable.
says,
Oh, go ahead.
Smell not good right now, but you get used to it.
Well, at least we're alive.
You'd never smelled full talk before.
At least might be waterlogged.
Constable kind of steps forward, to comment, and then like one of his feet sinks fairly deep into some muck, and like he kind of looks around and notices, the amount of just standing water here and there. Perhaps this was not a good idea. And he, like, if a robot could look a little bit nervous, he would look a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
He's too heavy. We need a way to make him float on the dirt.
It should be fine for now.
Yeah, you eventually bring your canoes along this path, and you actually see in front of you something a little unexpected. And you see on the side of the river, this old building that looks something like this. I got you. Thanks for reminding me. Amateur GM.
Does it, do we actually see signs of life, meaning light, coming from...
Yes, there's light. There's light coming from inside. And one thing you notice is kind of as you come into this area, the rains do kind of... They never stop, but they're kind of slowing. It's more like a sprinkle now. And it is more heavily wooded in this area.
Meepa, do you know what that is? Or do you know who lives there?
This one of hiding places, but no one there last time.
Oh,
Well, we shall blend in. We don't want to look too much like outsiders. We'll figure out what's going on and quickly enough, I'm assuming.
And just so you know, this image doesn't depict it perfectly because there's just one lone building, like to the right. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to find some shelter and find it fast. So we may as well
let's go
see if
in.
anyone's courteous.
Phaedron, perhaps we should go knock on the door.
Why not? What else could happen?
Oh no, don't say that.
So he'll everyone just be at the ready. And
Yep.
Bodron,
"Yep,
Ruthor will put his bow on his back.
blowgun ready to blow."
below appetite.
We don't want to look too threatening, so keep a distance.
So you head up these stairs, and they're kind of rickety. You get to this door. Are you gonna knock on it? What are you gonna do?
yeah, I'm not.
So as you knock on it, the door kind of just opens as you hit it one time. And you see there's a fairly large fire going in in the corner there. And you want to give me an intellect roll, Ruthor and Phaedron, with a Bane. Let's say a Bane.
Oh boy.
1. Okay.
Not too shabby.
Got it.
Yeah. Look safe.
And so you see there's this, is it a cauldron? Some big pot in the corner over the fire. And kind of as you are looking in, you see a woman kind of standing by it, dropping spices or something in it.
Ruthor will grab Phaedron by the little lower of his back, kind of pull back a little bit on him. Notice something odd. There's no smoke. No place for smoke to go.
That is true. There is no smoke or a chimney or anything like that. No exit. And as you kind of say that, she turns and, hello. Come in. You must be cold.
Nah, we're not that cold. Who are you?
I am known as Morgana here. Mipa!
Yes, mistress.
Mipa steps forward.
Ruthor is gonna give Mipa the eyeball.
Mipa doesn't make eye contact. He just kind of goes and slouches next to Morgana.
Serve our guest, Mipa. Bring out the finest bowls that we have. I have prepared stew.
Mipa, who is this?
Mipa.
Morgana.
Is this the one you...
Oh, no. That bitch made me her love slave. This just makes me her slave.
Cause that's better.
She has better taste.
She looks a lot better. He goes and he starts getting the bowls out dutifully. He doesn't look very happy.
Yeah, Come, there's nothing to be frightened of. I have a question for you, and knowledge you might be looking for. Come.
Constance seems a bit curious and, approaches.
Phaedron, I don't like this.
She has Are we all in here now, or?
You're kind of in the front. You're not inside. Mipa and her are the only people inside. You haven't walked in yet. You're kind of just standing outside deciding what you want to do.
So Tulip, Constable, and Gazak are still down out front, basically?
Yeah, you can be wherever you want to be.
Okay.
Yeah, if Constable hears all this going on, he'll approach and everything, but yeah.
Ruthor, remembering the orc who betrayed everybody and became a stranger-looking orc and made all the snow happen.
Which only Ruthor knows about, unless you told them.
He probably would have shared the story of like Phaedron and.
Well, seeing how Mipa just fell in line, and assuming that this is another sorceress or witch of some sort,
it might be too late.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what Phaedron's thinking, that we may as well be good house guests for now, and hopefully we won't be
eaten,
enslaved here for the rest of our lives.
Come, guys, Tulip, Constable. We are guests. We will be better than the dumb-fat, dumb one.
Dumb, fat, dead one.
So as you kind of go inside, she smiles and begins kind of ladling out all this this stew into a bowl, and you've not like smelt anything like this. You've been eating fish and other kind of things like that mostly for the last 2 years, or even worse.
When Morgana's attention is not that you can see Meepa sneaking little bites out of the bowl, just kind of dips his finger and licks it real fast.
She turns and she's like, "This is hospitality, but I will not waste your time. I have sent Meepa to bring you here because of the rains, which has been spared of us. But my beasts and birds have seen and watched. You are at the epicenter of it all. Why, Meepa, what have you learned?"
He points at Gazak and says, "This one has a rune, or some such, a birthmark. There's a man said that he is at the source. He makes the rains come, and the snows go away."
What does a man know?
"May I see this rune?"
What interest is it to you, Morgana?
"To reverse this curse that has been put on the lands."
And how exactly would you reverse it?
"I will need to study your child."
So you are asking for me to let you have my child to study?
"All I need is to see the rune for now."
I imagine Constable has a bit of an idea of the old faith and stuff like that due to his connection with magic and faith. So he kind of pipes up a bit. "Perhaps it is not a bad idea."
He's gonna look over at Gazak. Gazak, show the woman your mark.
He looks slightly confused, and you notice that he might be looking a little afraid, which he does not ever show, if he really is at times. He pulls it down to show her, and she kind of looks at it for a few moments, walks over towards him, but never touches him. She kind of traces it with her finger above his shoulder in the air, and she nods, and "That's all I needed to see for now." And she walks back over to the table and sits down. And good.
You're a brave lad, Gazak. Brave orc.
"Do you wish to release him from this burden?"
How would you do that?
"I believe with the correct rites, I can remove the mark from him and place it on another."
And who would this other be?
"Why, I will remove it and place it on myself, of course."
You see Meepa breathe a sigh of relief. For a minute, he assumed it would be him.
Constable curiously asks, "Why do you wish the rune?"
"So I may study it more and learn of its power, and that I can reverse this evil that has come to the land. Otherwise, say that again?"
How did you hear of this rune? How do you know so much of it?
And she looks at Meepa and then back to you. "I only knew that you were
Whatever the source of this healing for the land. That is all. I knew something because I've been watching and wondering why the snows have gone. But if you go a week or less in any direction, the snows are as bad as they always been. But when you got here, I knew of your coming. I did not think anything of it until the healing began.
So you want us to hand you the power to control all this?
I suppose that it would do that, but that is not why I do it. I do it to heal, to learn.
The boy would no longer be hunted.
Ah.
Would it be easier to study on another than yourself?
I do not think I can transfer to another. Only myself. I have not that power. It is for you to decide. Or perhaps it is the boy who should decide.
The boy is still young. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what it could do.
He's been very silent through all of this as he's listening.
This is for us who have experienced the tragedies around us to discuss. We are but one orc.
She doesn't, she just kind of nods and, yes, of course. It is your decision. Feel free to eat my food and warm yourself by my hearth.
We much appreciate the hospitality.
She looks to Meepa and says, I will be outside. Make sure they have everything they want, Meepa.
Meepa just nods dutifully.
And she pushes past all of you and walks out the door and down the stairs to let you decide.
Kazik, there is something that you should probably know about the fat, dumb, dead one. Yeah, he saw your birthmark. And he says that you are the cause of all the warmth to melt the snow because you bear the mark. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, people will seek you out if they know you have the mark.
I understand. Whatever you want me to do, Father, I'll do it. He seems rather subdued and fearful.
As much as I would love this curse removed from you, still don't know what would happen in the process to you. Nor am I comfortable in the chance of being betrayed by a powerful one again. Many moons ago, me and your mother and Fotok, who you knew as a young lad, were part of a slave camp. And he'll go ahead and tell him the story about the old orc that took us to the spot and betrayed us and turned into a very weird looking orc and started all the snow and everything. And everybody is around, they get, of course, hear it all. I'm sure someone probably heard it before, like Phaedron. We must decide together, because we are one, what to do.
I say let the witch try to remove the curse off of your child so that he may live his life peace, relative peace.
Constable, you seem to know a little bit. Can we trust this?
Perhaps those of the old ways seek balance. Perhaps she is of those witches. She could be of another, however. I feel it may be worth it.
Tulip,
Yes?
what do you think?
Well, I agree with my dad. I mean, I don't know much, but usually he's pretty right, so.
Good. Now we all have spoken.
Gazik, like, he says, "Father, what about him?" And he points to Meepa. "He knows her. Can she be trusted?"
Can he be trusted to tell us what he really knows?
"He is a lower orc of our tribe."
It seems that he's not of our tribe. He's of the witch's tribe.
Constable walks over to Meepa and leans down by him.
Meepo just kind of looks down at his feet.
What do you know?
Who knows?
His eyes are watching you very intensely.
No one knows what is in the mind of a witch. Not even Meepa. She is not a cruel mistress, but Meepa would rather be orc.
So you would rather be freed?
He says, she's not bad to look at, but too much work.
Maybe we can bargain for Meepa's freedom to give her the power of the child.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that the powerful ones take no pity on us mortals. They probably would rather have us not here at all.
Nods.
If we were to walk here in normal circumstances without the world turning to a frozen wasteland, we probably wouldn't be talking right now.
As you kind of say that, the door creaks and she kind of is standing in the doorway and she says, "The time is coming, the moon is high. Tell me, what have you decided so I can prepare?"
Well, knowing all this, you all still hold to your original opinions.
Constable looks to Morgana as you ask him that. Of what way do you follow?
The way of balance. The way of life, the way of trees, the way of the sky, the stars, the moon. The world is out of balance. We must set it right.
Any way I could gauge that?
Sure. You roll intellect. With
Very intelligent.
two banes.
I have a
I'll do
vigilance.
prayer for 1, so it's -1.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Nope. He's pretty unsure, but he kind of looks to Ruthor and gives him a bit of a nod.
Adrian, you still feel the same?
He nods.
Well, then that's how it goes. You may transfer it to yourself and the child. Just be warned if something happens to the child. I'm sure it won't be good for either of us.
She just shakes it. He will be fine, released of the burden. Come.
Meepa clears his throat as she says, come. And he says,
Maybe in interest of balance, they give you rune, maybe you give them Meepa.
Yes. Meepa does not want to be a slave anymore. He wants to be an orc with us.
She looks at Ruthor and looks at Meepa and just shrugs. Very well. There are other Meepas out there to assist me.
We appreciate that. Even though you may not think so, us mortals and people and dumb fat people and orcs like us, we provide part of that balance.
Of course. And she looks kind of tired of that comment. Come, Gazik, let us begin. And she says, please, if you would, eat your stew outside while I prepare. Come, child. Be strong. And she reaches out a hand, and Gazik looks to Ruthor for what he should do.
Go, Gazik, we are right here.
He takes a deep breath and says, yes, Father. We are orc. And he walks and up the stairs, takes her hand. She turns, leads him inside. The door shuts, and the scene fades to black.